"Sir, please step back." The officer's voice cracked the morning stillness. A morning like any other, except it wasn't. Because right in front of him, kneeling at a gravestone, was an old man in a uniform that had faded with time, clutching white flowers like they were lifelines. He looked frail, but the steel in his voice was unmistakable. "This is my son's resting place," he said softly, voice breaking. "He died for this country." But for the officer, it was just another trespasser to shoo away. The man stood slowly, as if every bone protested, and the crowd of strangers paused, phones half raised, unsure whether to act or record. He took one trembling breath. "I just need a moment," he whispered. "One moment to say, 'I love you,'" but the officer didn't wait. "Step away." And the taser buzzed. It hit him square in the chest. He collapsed. Flowers spilled. A gasp. And then silence. Minutes later, the cemetery's hush was shattered again. Not by force, but by boots. Two Marines in crisp blues, posture perfect, marched toward the kneeling man. The first Marine stopped a few feet away, squared his shoulders, and looked the officer in the eye. "What did you just do?" he demanded. The cop swallowed. He was trespassing. Cemetery rules. "He's Staff Sergeant Richard Thompson," the Marine said, voice low but unshakable. "2 Purple Hearts, Silver Star, survived Vietnam, trained more of us than you've ever disciplined." He paused. "You didn't ask." The statement hung in the air, heavier than any weapon. All eyes turned to the old man. He tried to crawl forward, pressing his palm into the ground. "I promised him," he croaked. "When his mum died, I promised our Michael I'd be there every year, on his birthday. I never said goodbye. I never could. And today is his birthday." He closed his eyes and pressed the flowers to his chest. Tears and resolve blurred into one. One Marine dropped to his knees beside Richard, gently picking up the flowers, placing them one by one back into his hand. "Sir," he said, voice trembling, "you're not alone." A simple sentence, one word each, but it carried more weight than any salute. The officer looked away. His fingers itched over his cuffs. "I follow protocol," he mumbled. "I didn't know." The words were empty, too late. "Protocol means nothing without respect," the lead Marine snapped. "Respect for that man's service, respect for a father's love." And then, under the Marine's coat, a glint of metal. "This," he said, unfolding a small box, "was his son's medal, earned in battle and buried by a father." He held it out. "Take it." The officer's hand trembled as he took it, eyes glistening. He pressed it to his chest, and for a moment the badge on his uniform looked small next to the weight of what he'd been given. A hush fell. A woman behind them wiped her tears. A teenage boy dropped to one knee, removed his cap. From somewhere deeper in the cemetery, a lone bugler stepped forward and played taps. Each note echoed across the headstones, righteous and raw. The officer lifted his hat. Heads bowed, not because they had to, but because something inside each of them understood. This wasn't just a ceremony, it was truth revealed. That sometimes we forget. Forget that every person has a backstory. Forget that the uniform doesn't always tell the whole story. Richard, helped to his feet by the Marines, took a deep breath. He stared at his son's grave. Sergeant. Michael D. Thompson, USMC, beloved son and hero. His voice cracked as he spoke, but each word was a salute. "Birthday's over, son. Until next year." And then, most of all, he smiled. A smile shaped by years of pain and pride. Because love doesn't die. It lingers in memories, in rituals, in the bones of old men who refuse to break. Sacrifice doesn't vanish. It echoes across generations, in medals, in stories, in moments of reckoning. Respect isn't optional. It's earned, remembered, shared. As the silence stretched, those boots, once authority, became companions. The Marines didn't walk away. They stood with Richard. They stood together. Because respect once shown never leaves the battlefield, it just changes forms. Let this moment stay with you. Think of all the times you've judged before you listened. Think of all the times you saw a face, forgot the person. Think of all the rules that seemed right, until you learned the heart behind them. Now, I want to ask you, have you ever judged someone without knowing their story? Have you ever seen pain and turned away? Drop your answer in the comments, because we need to talk. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story moved you, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma below. Let's honor those who've given everything, and let's remember to always ask why before we act.